alone.
And you wouldn't know what to do with him if you had him.
Well, certainly looks most attractive.
Thank you, Miss Parrish.
All we've got on my wing are the same old decorations we had last year.
The women made them all themselves. They collected the coloured paper left over from the art classes, begged a roll of cotton wool from the hospital, and all it's cost is a few pots of poster paint.
How very enterprising. Still, we can't all have your artistic talent, can we?
Oh, not mine. Sue designed and organised it all. We were just admiring your decorations. Thank you, Miss Collins.
Very seasonal.
All right, Jenny. You've had your fun. Now, don't make it any worse. Oh, come on.
Play the game where you don't.
Oh, you've been knocked out.
Now, why?
I just felt like it.
The women in your wing have spent all their free time in the last month making those decorations.
I helped.
Does that give you a right to destroy them? It was a mean and petty thing to do, whatever the reason. And since you won't tell me what it was, you leave me no alternative but to punish you. If it wasn't so near Christmas, it would be far more severe. 3 days loss of pay.
Right, take it away. You were right, of course, madam. There was no alternative.
Do you know why she did it, Mrs. Armitage?
No idea, madam. It's always a very difficult time in prison, the festive season. Emotions come very near the surface.
Yes, well, I'll speak to Miss Collins. Who's next?
New admissions. There were a few late arrivals last night. One of them was a bit of a surprise. Next. Weeks. Georgina.
Sorry. Mrs. Weeks. I'm sorry, I don't know my new number.
I got a Christmas card from you only the other day.
I couldn't help it. I meant to stay away, but I couldn't help it.
You had a nice little room with Mrs. Doving. You were settling in, getting along famously.
Yes, but Mrs. D went to visit her married daughter. She fell and broke her hip. I've been alone nearly 2 months now, worried about her. So I just had one little drink to cheer myself up, like.
And they arrested her. There was no need to do that. She was just drunk and noisy.
I rather suspect it's what she wanted. Now, what about Jenny Palmer? She muttered something about the decorations making her fed up. Has she been difficult lately?
Not really. Very quiet and broody. She shares a cell with Sue Fields. She's the only one who can get anything out of her.
Why's that?
Well, it's the old problem. Jenny's husband hardly ever writes, and 4 days ago, last visiting day, he just didn't show up. No word, nothing.
Yes, I see.
Well, it's hard enough for women in prison. Jenny's husband just won't make any effort.
I think we should remember that she's in here for stabbing him with a kitchen knife.
But he forgave her in court.
Yes, it may not be as simple as that.
Come on, Jen.
I'm not going to.
The others understand, but you've got to try and make it up to them.
I don't care what they think.
Oh, look. We're both going to be in here for quite a long time. You're not going to make it any easier for yourself by falling out with everybody. Here. I'll help you cut out some things to replace the ones you tore up, and it'll all be forgotten. Good day, madam.
May I come in? No, that's all right, Jenny. Sue, do you mind leaving us for a moment?
Oh, certainly.
I understand that you haven't heard from your husband lately. Why didn't you tell me about it when you were on report? Might have helped.
I just felt that you were right. It was a rotten thing to do. I felt bad about it. But I just couldn't help myself. They were all laughing and giggling and Somehow it all seems so pointless, all the coloured paper and the streamers.
This reconciliation of yours with your husband, was it genuine?
Oh, yes, madam. I never meant to hurt him. He knew that.
So you don't know of any real reason why he hasn't got in touch with you?
No. Unless... Oh, I keep thinking that maybe he's found somebody else.
Is that likely?
He's so good looking. Honestly, he's really handsome. Always had the birds after him. I used to get so jealous. Maybe.
You know, Jenny, it's a funny thing about women. Whenever anything goes wrong, they immediately think the worst. The one thing that they're most afraid of. I know I do it myself. I'll try and find out what's happened to your husband.
Would you really, madam?
Oh, yes. But you must promise me that you're not going to let your imagination run away with you. Oh, that looks pretty, Sue. What's it for?
Oh, it's a prop for the Christmas show. It's meant to be a crown for the fairy.
Yeah, I wanted to play that part. Don't you think I'd make a lovely fairy, madam?
Perfect, Fran. How's the concert coming along?
We're a bit rough round the edges, madam.
Oh, why?
I keep losing people from the cast. They get discharged or transferred.
Yes, of course.
And there's so few hours we can rehearse. It started out as a review, and now it's more of an old-time music hall where people can do their own sort of thing.
Oh, it sounds a lot of fun.
Here, madam. How about you giving us a song? Or a recitation, perhaps?
That would be a moment to remember.
You're a cheeky devil.
Right now, let's get all this clutter cleared up.
Oh, vanished.
Have you considered which song you're going to give us, Governor?
How about Don't Fence Me In?
Jailhouse Rock. They put me on the chain gang.
If I sang, it would put an end to the evening's entertainment.
Oh, come on, why?
But surely you wouldn't even consider it, madam.
I don't see it's such a bad idea, Miss Parrish.
I quite agree, madam. We're always talking about bridging the gap between us and the women.
It would be bound to cause far too much familiarity.
Well, familiarity could breed understanding instead of contempt.
Well, I have no intention of exposing the inmates to my talents. Unless, of course, someone else would like to volunteer. No? Oh, what a pity. Right, well, let's get on with the arrangements for the next few days.
The extra allowance has already been paid so that the women may buy their cards and so on.
Yes, well, the chef tells me Christmas lunch and tea are well in hand. He doesn't anticipate any trouble there.
And the principal officers have organised details to help get the meals to the wings as quickly as possible.
Can they cope?
Oh, most of our staff have volunteered for extra duty. I think they can manage.
Good.
It's a funny thing. Most of the year, the regulars are queued up outside my surgery trying to get into hospital. This time of the year, they're all trying to get out so they don't miss the wing parties. Nobody's ill at Christmas.
It's not a time to be alone. Right, well, now that's Christmas Day. Well, of course, Boxing Day will be very much the same. The highlight will be the North Wing concert in the evening. As you know, we've invited the prison visitors and the husbands and families of the staff. Arrangements will have to be made to meet them and take them to their seats.
I've already spoken to security and it's all organised. And I hope it's going to be worth all the effort. These concerts can be pretty disastrous.
What are you saying over there on top of Bitch! What? You lousy bitch! Oh, you think it's all such a joke, don't you? Don't you?
What on earth's happened, Fran?
Jenny Palmer, she just flipped, didn't she?
Yeah, well, what started it?
Search me, I wasn't even talking to her and she slung her dinner right in me gob.
Yeah, but what started
Miss,
it?
I don't know.
I've examined her and she's quiet again.
She was raving. Then her anger suddenly switched off, just like the time before.
Well, I'll keep her under observation in the hospital wing for the next 48 hours. And I'll get the psychiatrist to look at her tomorrow morning.
Yes, thank you, Peter.
All right. Good night.
Night.
Sorry, I heard you wanted to see me.
Oh, yes, I'm glad they caught you, Miss Clark.
Just, I was on my way to the gate.
Yes, I'm sorry to hold you up. It's about Jenny Palmer.
Yes. Is she under sedation?
It seems it wasn't necessary.
Why?
When her violence comes, it's very short-lived. Now, I want you to check up on her husband, find out what he's up to, why he hasn't written to her, why he hasn't seen her. I'm sure this is what's worrying her.
It's Christmas Eve tomorrow.
I did promise her that we'd try and find out.
Very well, Mrs. Boswell, but I do have other commitments.
We all have, Miss Clark.
It's all right. Don't get up.
I was just writing a new sketch for the show.
It's a bit late, isn't it?
Hope not.
You seem to get on with Jenny pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what made her attack Fran like that?
I've no idea, Miss Collins. I wish I did. I might have been able to help her. Jenny's in the cast of the show. I'm going to have a frightful time trying to replace her.
Lights out. Settle down.
Coming into lunch? I was thinking about Mrs. Dobin.
You were happy with her, weren't you?
Oh, yes, ma'am. It's like being at home. Mind you, it was a bit of a strain.
Oh, why?
Well, you know what she's like. So kind. She's had discharged prisoners stay with her before, and it's never worked out. Taking me in was a sort of last try.
Yes.
Everybody she's tried to help let her down. It was up to me. I kept myself clean. I used to walk past the boozer on the corner with my eyes shut.
And then she had her accident.
We were so cosy together, see? Friendly. All of a sudden I was on my own again and I couldn't stop thinking about having a drink. Sort of craving like.
You got drunk, Mrs. Weeks, and quarrelsome and started throwing things about in that pub.
I couldn't stop myself.
That's not quite true, is it? You didn't have a drink with Mrs. Dobin, and you've done without it here. You got drunk deliberately so that you could get arrested, just as you've done before.
I've been on my own too long. I couldn't face the thought of Christmas on my own.
You're an old fraud, Mrs. Weeks.
Yes.
Here, any chance of something a bit stronger?
Why, what did you fancy?
Oh, baby doll, that's another question.
Oh, here, Mr. Radley.
Hello.
Would you like to pull my cracker?
Oh, he can ring my chimes any time.
Pick someone your own size.
Oh, got something going there, have you?
As you get.
I told you to get about, Chief.
Nothing sacred.
Yeah, give us somebody a cracker then.
Right then, here we go.
What's the big one?
Oh, sir.
Yes, Barbara.
If you play your cards right, I'll show you where they've hung the mistletoe.
Oh, I thought there was somebody missing.
Where you been, you daft old cat? Yeah, come and sit down by me, Georgie. Come on, girl, come on.
Here, madam. I was just wondering if you could have Mr. Radley for afters.
With custard or without? Now, is everything all right?
Perfect. Do you know, madam, it's the one day of the year we got the screws just where we want them. Oh, miss, fetch me some more, would you?
After sampling the same dinner in 8 different wings, I could do with a drink.
Yeah. Allow me. Scotch?
Oh, lovely.
How about you, Chief?
Oh, I don't think I should, Mr. Radley. Not after having sherry with me officers and Irish whiskey with the doctors.
I've got just the thing for you, Mrs. Armitage. Curiously strong peppermints. They cover up the evidence, but don't take away the effect. Oh, I haven't opened my present.
Ah, who's it from?
It was left for me anonymously in the centre.
Oh.
Faye.
I'm not quite sure how I'd interpret that, madam.
Well, at least I can't be accused of accepting a bribe.
Here you are.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Well, I suppose I shall have to confess that I have been sent a present as well.
What is it?
Well, it's a tie of sorts.
My dear Mrs. Armitage.
I think I'm going to have one of your peppermints, madam.
Right, now this is what we've got to do next.
What's this?
It's the new sketch. I told you about it.
I can't learn all this by tomorrow. I've got enough to do already.
Got to learn Jenny's parts, it is.
We need it for the show.
Oh, stuff that, dear.
Oh, I don't think I'm very good at remembering things, dear.
Oh, look, it's funny. It's about a store detective bringing an old shoplifter up in front of the manager.
Jeez, I can't
Once
wait.
you get the situation, the words are easy. You can almost make them up.
Not this won't go.
I'll have a go if I could be the detective.
Oh, really? You're welcome.
Yeah, you play the other part yourself instead of making us do all the work. Pussy cow.
Oh, well, it'll soon be over.
Unfortunately.
This free and easy atmosphere, it unsettles the women.
Oh, I don't know. So often people get passed over or forgotten because others are more demanding and difficult. But at this time of year, everyone gets their fair share of attention.
Aren't you being a little sentimental, Mrs. Armitage?
I don't think anybody could accuse me of that. No, I'm thinking of the older women like Georgie Weeks who make sure they get arrested at this time of year. And others who come to the gatehouse asking to be let in. It's a bit of a paradox, though. Christmas in prison, all the decorations. It's like putting rouge on a skeleton.
Oh, I don't grudge them a few days' forgetfulness. It's just it makes it all the more difficult for them when it's over.
Thank you, miss. How are you, Jenny?
All right, thank you, madam.
I brought you your share of sweets and cigarettes.
Thank you, madam.
I've had a call from Miss Clark, the welfare officer. She's been to your flat.
Did you see Jim? Did she talk to him?
No, I'm afraid not. The neighbours say that he's been away for a week or 10 days.
Away?
They said something about going up north. Does that mean anything?
Well, yeah, he has got business friends up in Manchester and Liverpool. It could be with them.
Well, at least we know that he's not sitting at home forgetting about you.
Yeah.
If I hear anything more definite, I'll let you know.
Thank you, madam. Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas, Jenny.
Now, I've asked you for a special reason. Something unusual outside the ordinary round of duty.
Well, the problem is the wing show. Jenny Palmer was in the cast and she's being let out of hospital tomorrow, but she now refuses to take part.
So she has to be replaced.
They've tried sharing out the bits she was going to do, but none of the other women are suitable. So with the chief's consent, I'd like the help of one of the staff.
Oh, now, come along, ladies. Miss Collins is asking for a volunteer. Now, look, we're all agreed these shows are good therapy. That magic word we've heard so much about these last 3 years. Now, come on, Miss Berryman, you agree with therapy, don't you?
Well, yes,
Only the other day you were telling me our main concern is to win the confidence of the women.
Well, yes, Chief, but
Well, I'm glad to see you stick to your principles. Thank you very much. All right, the rest of you can go, that's all.
Hey, but I had a date tonight, Chief.
Oh.
Well, it looks like you'll be rehearsing instead. Are you sure you want to volunteer, Pat?
Do I have any choice?
what do I have to do?
There you are, Miss Berryman. That's all there is to it. It's quite simple. So let's do it properly this time, shall we? With the song, all together. And 1, and 2, and 3, and 4.
Every little movement has a meaning of its own. Every thought and feeling by some posture may be shown. Every love that comes of stealing more.
Listen, wait a moment. I'm not taking my clothes off.
That's the whole point, Miss Berryman. You're not really taking anything off, you're only miming.
What a shame!
Right, let's do it from the top, shall we? Let's forget the song, shall we, Mrs. Weeks? And 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. Now, let it rip. Shut your mouth, Tish. Shut up.
Taking any responsibility for this show. Sink or swim, the women have done it themselves.
It's the sink part that I don't like the sound of.
Oh, Beth, I'm so glad you could come. My dear, you look super. Well, I hope you didn't dress up specially.
Oh, no, we had some people in earlier.
Oh, good, because I told Charles it was quite informal, just dropping in for a drink if you had nothing better to do.
Well, let me get you both a drink. I know
Thanks,
what
Bill.
Charles will have. What about you?
Oh, gin and something.
Right.
Well, now, how's Christmas been so far? The children enjoying it?
Well, they're too young to know what it's all about, really. They enjoyed tearing the paper off their presents, though.
Oh, yes. Who's looking after them?
Oh, Beth's mother's staying with us.
I see.
You know, it's funny, I do feel guilty about leaving them.
You'll get over it. Excuse me.
Sorry, love.
I feel so overdressed. You said it was a dinner party.
It was a mistake, a genuine mistake.
We can't stay.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Well, here we are. Tonic, all right?
Oh, yes.
Thanks, Bill. Cheers.
Compliments to the season. You know, we're a bit like fish out of water among this lot.
As usual.
Oh, hello, Paul. Hello, Mr. Rudd. You don't know Ellen, Mrs. Armitage's daughter, do you? This is my wife, Beth.
Hello. I've heard about you.
Oh, not so unrepeatable, I hope.
Charles told me you're training to be a welfare officer.
Oh, that was some time ago. She's into psychiatric nursing now.
Yes, I decided welfare isn't for me. I mean, it's treating the symptoms, but not the disease.
Don't let Liz Clark hear you say that.
Oh, no, I think they do a wonderful job. But most offenders are disturbed in some way, and the only really valuable help for them is psychiatric. Don't you think so?
I try not to.
Will we be seeing you at the Stone Park Follies tomorrow?
Yes. Well, I might not be able to get away.
See if your mother'd like some help.
Excuse us.
She was a bit sharp, love. You didn't have to flatten her.
I'm sorry, but I won't talk prison shop.
Good for you. We'll form a little protest movement and march up and down with placards.
Our Charles doesn't look too happy.
What makes you think that?
Intuition. I've got a feeling that the seas of matrimony do not run smooth. Yeah, I'd say his wife is giving him a fairly rough time.
She probably has a lot to put up with.
How do you mean?
I think Charles is an easy man to live with.
You think it's his fault?
Yes, the rather heavy tubs.
Oh, yes, of course.
One thing I've learned is that between couples, problems are never one.
Mean was like we really had two.
Maybe not.
Excuse me, will you?
Let's face it. What?
Can I get you a wreath?
What, making these things? Yes, I know.
I thought you'd never ask.
You in trouble?
Up to the eyebrows. Scotch?
Yes.
I thought this was a dinner party. And Beth bought that dress specially. How about you? Irish charm not working?
You have a problem.
Don't I know it?
Well, I've had a thought. Why not tell Beth you planned it all along as a surprise? A few drinks here, then take her out to dinner anywhere she chooses.
That's brilliant.
You might try a version of the same thing.
Hey, he's not just a pretty face, is he?
Dad's up to something.
Well, let's hope it works.
Liz?
No, thank you.
Not right.
Well, it's not a bad little party, cheers.
Absolutely. Oh, well.
You staying long?
When do you
Well, no
start
reason.
again after Christmas?
Fifth? No, actually, I may not say. I was thinking of having something to eat.
Oh, well, would you mind if... I mean, I'd like to take you out to dinner. No strings. I'd just like to. And to make up for... To make up.
Yes.
I don't think there's any point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Christmas night. Anywhere that's open, that's decent, will be booked up. I was thinking of eating a man. It's not much, but it would probably be enough for two.
Well, I mean, why don't you on my own?
I don't believe a
Ask
word.
Bill.
We've been planning it for weeks.
It's true. Anywhere you like to go.
Oh, all right. I don't care if you're lying or not. I would love to.
Well, that's very gracious, isn't it?
What's this all about?
Oh, Beth was suggesting a spot of wife swapping. Charles and I said we'd better think it over.
Oh,
Are you sure that's safe, Dad?
Yeah, if it's safe as houses, you could drive a bus over it.
I'll take your word for it. Spencer, can I have a word? Mind your back. Oh, watch it, watch it, watch it. It's like a jumble sale in here.
The volunteers are coming over from the canteen and the sewing shop this afternoon, Miss Collins. How would you like them put out?
Ah, we'll use the front two rows for the governor and her guests, and then the women, and the back row for the other guests and staff families.
Right.
Oh, and your officers can sit with their families.
Well, they really ought to patrol the sides.
Oh, we don't want it to look like a concentration camp. No, they can sit at the side if they like, but that's all.
Very well, Miss Collins.
I'm concerned about the effect on the women in my wing, Governor.
Yes, well, we'll attend to that in a minute, Miss Parrish. Now, Mrs. Armitage, just a few officers to pass the guests through to the wing. Once they've been checked at the gatehouse, I want it to be as informal as possible.
Yes, yes, madam.
There shouldn't be any bother.
No. Come in.
Sorry I'm late, Governor.
No, that's all right, Marion. Sit down. Now, what was your objection?
Not so much an objection, madam, but I've had complaints from some of the women on my wing that they're being kept from seeing the show.
We've already taken care of that, Martha. There's to be another performance tomorrow night in one of the bigger wings.
Well, all I'm saying is that some of my people will be able to look directly across the centre and onto North Wing.
Yeah, it could be a bit tantalising, only being able to see half the show. What do you say, Marion? Could we fit in all the women from South Wing?
It'll mean some of them standing, but yes, I think so.
Well, we don't want any protests or demonstrations, so, Charles, will you see all the other AGs and make sure that they understand that no one will miss the show?
Certainly, Governor.
Now, then, I want to talk to you about Jenny Palmer. As you know, she's being discharged from the hospital wing today.
Thanks.
I'm very sorry to hear it, Pat.
Hear what?
About your leaving. Is it true?
Is what true?
Well, everybody's saying that you're going to give up the service and join the chorus at the Palladium.
Well, Jenny, I'm prepared to let you go back to North Wing, but you must understand that I will not tolerate any more disturbances.
Yes, madam. I just lost control. I know it's easy to say, but it won't happen again, I promise.
We'd be more inclined to believe you, Jenny, if you could tell us what it was that made you lose control last time.
Fran was joking. I thought she was talking about my husband. I've always been jealous. Mad jealous. That's why I stabbed him. I thought he was being unfaithful.
But that couldn't have had anything to do with Fran.
Yeah, I know. It was just when she started laughing. It made me think about him. And when I do that, I guess like I almost don't know what I'm doing.
What makes you so sure that you're over it now?
Oh, I am, madam. I promise.
Very well. You'll be taken back to North Wing. But it's up to you to make your peace there and to keep it.
Yes, madam. Thank you. I wouldn't blame you if you wanted to stick one on me. I behaved like a right cow. I'm sorry, Fran.
It's all right, love. I've clobbered people before myself for no reason. Come and sit down.
Don't get yourself into such a state. Look at this. It's normally a Christmas
The cook has made this cake specially just for today.
Unfortunately, he allowed a 10p piece to fall into it. So you ladies are going to have to help me find it. Forceps. Scalpel. Now, I'll just make an experimental incision.
Oh, man, where are you making it, love?
The officers and the padre have been so helpful. The way they've helped us collect props and costumes and things for the
All
show.
praise to you. You've made them all so enthusiastic. Did you do this kind of thing outside?
Oh, not since I was at school. I sometimes think it's what I should have taken up.
Have you got everything you need?
I think so. Except for the sketch. But it's too late for that, I suppose.
Why, what did you want?
A shopping bag and an overcoat for Mrs. Weeks. It would have to be a fairly loose one.
Well, the shopping bag's no problem. And I could fetch you a coat of my mother's. It should fit her.
Could you, Miss Collins?
No trouble. I'll pop home and fetch them after tea.
Well, there's a bit for you. Who's going to be the lucky person? That's for you.
Hello, Sue. Everything all right?
Well, I'm hoping so. It's too late now if it isn't.
How's the cast? Nervous?
I'm the only one with stage fright, and I'm the only one that isn't appearing.
Yes, I was wondering about that. Why aren't you?
I know my limitations, Matty. I'm all right so long as I'm telling other people what to do. My only talent is for improvising.
1, 2, 3, go.
I hope you've warned your husband what to expect tonight, Mrs. Armitage.
Oh, he won't be coming, madam.
Oh.
Well, it's too far for him to walk, you see.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Hey! Hey, Doc, I found it! The 10p!
Oh, that bloody favouritism. Yeah, he likes his crumpet toasted.
A little more sherry, sir.
How very kind of you. Thank you very much. Whoa. Thank you very much.
Excuse me, I better look
Yes,
up.
of course. Thank you.
You haven't met my wife, have you, sir? This is Mr. Rushcote, one of our visiting magistrates.
Good evening, Mrs. Bradley. No, you know, I was just asking the doctor where you were.
I've been doing my rounds, sir.
Yes, of course.
Hello there. So he got you to come along after all?
Yes, well, it was either that or stay at home.
Well, with a bit of luck, it might not be too bad.
Beth, can I get you a drink? A sherry and sherry.
Oh, in that case, I think I'd like a sherry.
I'm glad you said that. I'll get you a glass. Very good.
Yes, he was bad.
So you feel we have a treat in store, Governor?
Yes, well, I hope you'll enjoy it. It's
Lovely.
devised by the women themselves and rehearsed in their spare time. It's all their own work.
Did you get someone in to direct it?
No, the producer and chief writer is one of the inmates.
Really?
What's she like?
Oh, well, she's very intelligent, educated girl.
What's she doing here?
4 years, actually.
She was sentenced for a part in an international currency swindle, and before that she'd done 6 months for fraud.
What can we do about someone like that?
Hope, Mr. Rushcote. I've recommended her to be transferred to an open prison in the new year.
I say, Rushcote.
Hello, Bill. I didn't see you.
Yes, of course you do.
Played Bill.
Yes.
Hey, do you want a drop more sherry?
Yes, I would. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Could I have a word, Mrs.
Yes, of
Boswell?
course.
I had a bit of luck. I've found out where Jenny Palmer's husband is.
Oh, splendid. Where?
He's on remand in Liverpool. On a charge of doping at a dog racing track. Apparently he's part of a syndicate they've been after for some time.
I see. Well, that explains a lot.
Are you going to tell Jenny?
I promised I would. I'll wait until after the show.
My old man said follow the van and don't dilly-dally on the way. Off went the cart with the old pat in it. I followed on with the old compliment. Well, I dilly and I dallied and I dilly. Lost the man and don't know where to roam. Now you can't trust his special like the old time coppers when you can't find your way home.
That was the lovely Barbara, known to us all as the Nigerian Nightingale. All the way from mysterious Shepherd's Bush. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in any nick, like it or lump it, I am going to sing for you. I said like it or lump it. An heart-rending, sentimental ballad. Maestro, if you please. A mother was bathing her baby one night, the youngest of 10 and a poor little mite. The mother turned round for the soap of the rag. She was only a minute, but when she turned back, her baby was gone, and in anguish she cried, where is my baby? The angels replied,
Your baby has gone down the plug. Your baby has gone down the plug.
the poor little thing was so skinny and thin, it should have been bathed in a jug,
Your baby is perfectly happy, 'cause it won't need a bath anymore.
Your baby has gone down the plug, oh. Not lost, just gone before. Not lost, just gone before. All together now. Your baby has gone down the plug, oh. Your baby has gone down the poor little thing was so skinny and thin. The poor little thing was so skinny. It should have been bathed in a jug. It should have been bathed in a jug. Your baby is perfect.
I don't see Jenny Palmer anywhere.
No, I couldn't get her to come out of her cell.
I thought she was all right now.
Maybe she's upset at not being in the show.
Well, perhaps.
Do sit down.
Yes, I am rather.
Do sit down. And what was this old lady doing?
She was shoplifting.
Shoplifting? Me? Of course I do. It's ridiculous. I haven't the strength. I've never lifted a shop in my life.
She was coming out of the shop with this.
Of course I was. That's my handbag.
Your handbag?
Yes, I'd know it anywhere. It's got all my little things in it.
What's this? Roller skates. What do you want them for?
So I don't have to run to catch me bus.
A real captive audience. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the management proudly present at enormous expense, in a dazzling, daring, dramatic monologue, a surprise, and I mean surprise, mystery guest.
The Lion and Albert. There's a famous seaside town called Blackpool that's noted for fresh air and fun. And Mr. and Mrs. Ramsbottom went there with young Albert, their son. A grand little lad were young Albert, all dressed in his best, quite a swell, with a stick with a horse's head handle, the finest that Woolworths could sell. Now, they didn't think much to the ocean, the waves they was fiddling in small. There was no wrecks, nobody drowned, in fact, nothing to laugh at all. So, seeking for further amusement, they paid and went into the zoo.
You all right, love? You know, I think it's awful you having to sit in here not knowing what's going on.
There was one. What waste all his lives raising children to feed ruddy lions? Not me.
Practically no expense whatsoever. The scrubber of the scrubs, your very own Georgie Weeks.
She was only a bird in a gilded cage, a beautiful sight to see. What are you squalling about? She's happy. Why don't you shut up? Oh, stop it, you stupid old fool! Oh, will you tell him to be quiet?
It's all right, everybody, it's all right. It's all right. There is no cause for alarm. There is no cause for alarm. It is all over. Now, I'm very sorry that this has happened, ladies and gentlemen, but it has been a splendid evening. I know we've all enjoyed it. I'm sure you'd like to show your appreciation.
Yes.
Thank you very much indeed, and I'm sorry, but I must ask you now all to leave.
Oh, we have
North and south wing, stay where you are till your guests are gone. Bill, would you mind seeing Beth?
Yes.
I can stay for a minute.
Oh, yes, yes.
It's lucky for you that Miss Parrish's injuries are not more serious. You've broken every promise you've made. What is more, you've ruined an evening into which your fellow inmates have put a lot of thought, time, and energy. It's inexcusable.
I don't care what you do. I don't care what anybody does.
I'll get her a sedative.
I don't want one. Why didn't you tell me?
Tell you what?
That Jim's loved me. I know all about it now. He's living with another woman. Well, why didn't you tell me instead of pretending everything was all right?
Listen to me. Your husband couldn't be living with another woman because he's imprisoned himself in Liverpool. Now, that is definite. I heard it this evening.
In prison?
Yes. I was going to tell you after the show.
But Sue told me that you were keeping the truth from me. She said that Jim had written to you saying that he wanted to divorce me.
Sue? Sue Field?
I'm sorry, Governor. There's a message from the gatehouse. All the guests have been passed out and the gateman's counted one extra. And Sue Fields is missing from the wing.
Yes, I know it's Christmas, but you must know how I can contact the Home Secretary. Well, please, will you go on trying? Put me back to the duty officer, will you?
None of my officers noticed anything. They were far too concerned with what was happening in North Wing.
Oh, hello, this is Mrs. Boswell again from Stone Park. Will you please keep on trying for the Director General? It's very important. Ask him to ring me back immediately. Thank you.
She must have had someone waiting for her. By now, she could be anywhere. This was all they found.
Oh, we've just got to face it, that we've been outsmarted. Oh, she's certainly picked the right time. The Home Secretary's in Scotland somewhere, the Director General's out at a dinner, and the Assistant Director's expected back from America tomorrow. It is imperative that I speak to one of them before the press get through to them.
Well, there's a full-scale alert out, and the police have set up roadblocks.
For all the good they'll do. Do you think this girl had it planned all along?
Well, that must have been why she got me to give her the coat and the bag, hoping she could use them herself.
She couldn't possibly have known that we were going to allow Jenny to go back on the wing. Oh, she warned me. She had a talent for improvising.
Well, it won't look too good at the inquiry, especially if they don't catch her.
Oh, they'll get her all right. Maybe not straight away, but sooner or later she'll be spotted and picked up.
Yes. The worst of it is, it was so easy for her. Whatever happens, the prison service is bound to be held up to ridicule.
Well, I'm not so worried about that as the effect on the other women.
This is the first escape from Stone Park in 30 years. And it'll give ammunition to all of those who are against everything that we've been trying to do. There's bound to be a call for stricter discipline, tighter control. All our beliefs, everything that we have stood for, all the progress that we have made will be swept away. And we'll be back to precisely where we were 3 years ago. Well, if you'll forgive me, I've got calls to make, reports to write. I'll see you in about half an hour, Charles.
Yes, Governor. Mr. Rishko, shall I see you down to the gatehouse?
Thank you, Mr. Red.
Stop for hours and have a drink if you like. There you go. I'm sorry it's ended like this.
No.
Governor. Yes, put him through.
Just wait a minute, Nellie. This won't take long. Now, Miss Benton, about tomorrow.
What time am I called in then?
12 o'clock.
Night, Susan.
Good night,
Good night,
Spencer.
Madam. Thanks ever so much for such a lovely Christmas.
Good night, Nellie.